Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. So, as an introduction to the chapter 3, Laylatul Isra wal Mi'raj, Laylatul Nisf Sha'ban. The night that is midway through Sha'ban has many names. And having many names indicates the high status of the thing being named. As we talked about before, the thing that has status is that which you have lots of descriptions for, or lots of names for. And in Arabic, one would say that a thing has great value because of the number of names it has. Al-Fashni mentions most of them in his book At-Tuhfa, and with each name the wisdom behind it being attributed to that particular name. And after it provides a hadith or tradition about it, and so look at it, and you will see amazing things. And of the names he mentions are Laylatul Mubarakah. So Laylatul Mubarakah, as we've talked about the word barakah before, barakah is blessing or increase. And the example that I gave was my dates that grew. My date plant. And that date plant was the same experience was shared by one of the sisters. So Mubarakah means a blessed night. Laylatul Bara'ah, the night of freedom. Bara'ah means to be disassociated from. To be disassociated, to cut yourself off from a thing, or to be distant from it. So Laylatul Bara', and I think that's what is certainly used in the Indian subcontinent, where they call it Shabi Barat. Yeah. And then Laylatul Qisma, the night of distribution. Now this is a difficult one. When people say that it's the night of distribution, because what some of the scholars have said is that it's on this night that what is to happen during the coming year descends, or is defined on that, or descends. The commands for that year descend on that night, and so whoever's going to die, their name will be written and descended down on that night. Whoever is going to be born, whatever is going to happen for that year will be descended on that night. So that's why they call it Laylatul Qisma. Now that's interesting because it raises the question of predestination. And that's the kind of problematic nature of that title, and also of the traditions that are related to that. And in the same text, which is not translated, this bit of it isn't translated, but I think it's appropriate I just cover that concept anyway. So why would you want to worship then, if you know that everything is already ordained? Or how is your relationship to be? And in the same text he describes, there's two elements to this. One is knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is powerful and has control, and that you need to submit to His will is part of what we've been talking about already. And the other thing is to be prepared. So what you would always be doing is to preparing yourself for that moment of death, whatever time it comes. So this night should be an opportunity to remind yourself that death is coming. And there's a possibility that it might not end well. So prepare for it. So it's actually the opposite of what people are saying, that, oh, you sit back and don't do anything. It's actually the opposite, that this should be a chance for you to remember and reflect on the importance of worship, on the importance of good character, on the importance of using your time so that if it does come, that you're ready for it. That every day you're thinking, how am I going to live today? How is today going to be for me? And if it doesn't go well, you reflect on that and you make it better for the next day. So that's one of the reasons why this concept of Laylatul Qismah, that this night is a really powerful, important night which determines what's going to happen over the year, then you should think and submit yourself to that and supplicate. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ says, لا يرد القضاء إلا الدعاء, that the only thing that can change or can push away what is destined is supplication. So the one thing that's in your hands is to make dua, is to supplicate, to pray. So you should do what you can, what's in your control, which is to make dua. And what's not in your control, leave it. Leave it to him. And the other name is called Laylatul Ijaba, the night on which du'as are answered. And we're going to see in the hadith that we're going to study why that name has come about. And as Shaykh Afifuddin mentioned earlier, he said that it's been related on the authority of Ibn Umar, there are 5 nights on which supplication will never be rejected. So these 5 nights are the special nights. And they are Laylatul Jum'ah. So actually, every week one of these nights occurs. Laylatul Jum'ah is the night preceding Friday, meaning Thursday night. And of course, in Arabic understanding, this is when the sun sets. So when the sun sets tonight at Maghrib, it becomes, what day is it today? Sunday. So it will become Yawm al-Ithnain, or Laylatul Ithnain, or the second night. In other words, Monday starts in the Arabic understanding in 1 hour's time. At 9 o'clock, then it's the eve of Monday. We don't call it Sunday night, we call it the eve of Monday. Okay, so every night, every Friday night, or every Thursday night, the night before Friday, du'as will not be rejected. The first night of Rajab, and we talked about that previously, the night which is coming on Monday night, Laylatul Nisfa min Sha'ban, Laylatul Qadr, the night in Ramadan, and the 2 Eids. Okay, so that's just a brief introduction. Are there any questions about that before we go into the text?
The night before Eid, or?
Laylatul Eid, the night before the Eid. So, so the time preceding the Eid. So you have the Eid prayer after Fajr. So if you're able to spend as much of that night in prayer, then it's good. Inshallah, in the text it talks about those as well. Okay, if there's nothing to add to that, okay, Idris? Good, you sure? Good. Naam.
Is there not 3 types of decree? For example, in Mublam, I think there's one that maybe a pious person, maybe like Abdulaziz could pray for you. There's another one that you can maybe, it's not yet, maybe your dua meets that decree. Is that also what that means, or is it not meaning that?
I don't know.
You know, when you spoke about decree and the reason why we do pray, and sometimes we can make dua to, but it's not actually come down yet, the decree. So you can actually make a dua to a base or to push up the decree. You understand? There's some that we can't do, but there's some that maybe a pious person could make for your change. They look at you and they can change that nausea, that the shaqaiq, the felicitous or damnation. Is that, would that mean that as well, or?
I think you better ask Shaykh Muslim.
Too much of a, sorry.
Perhaps you could.
I will not answer this now.
Inshallah, he'll come to that at some point, inshallah. But all I can say is that what's in your hands is dua. So just make sure you do what you can. And that's a bit of a aqeedah question, so to speak, a question of creed. And I said before that's, I think somebody asked me about creed. How do I teach the aqeedah? How do I teach the creed? And I said, I don't. When people are interested in Islam, or they want to know who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, I take them to a place called Glencoe, just out in the mountains. And we take a drive up there, we have a good time, we look at the mountains, and I say, did that happen by accident? Just look at the mountains, did the mountains happen by accident? And if they say yes, then we just have a picnic. And if they say no, then that's the beginning of Aqidah. That they know that this universe was created, that there's a pattern to it, there's a purpose to it, and we fit into that purpose by recognizing the Creator. And that's Aqidah. And so you can see I'm not really very strong in Aqidah, I'm much more interested in mountains. But it works for me. So these difficult questions, that's why I say you should ask somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. And if you want to know about mountains, then you're welcome to join me in Glencoe anytime. But what I do understand from your question, and what I do know an answer to, which is that if you make dua, it's good. And that's in your hands, so do it.
You said the only thing that can change destiny is dua, according to the Prophet ﷺ. And if it does get changed, does that mean it wasn't destined in those thoughts?
Okay. The dua was destiny as well. The dua that you made was part of destiny. And the fact that destiny was going to be changed is part of destiny.
So you can go many...
But there's still the point that I'm trying to make is that that's a technical thing about belief. And I don't really understand all of that because I'm not a Shaykh and I don't know those deep things about Aqidah. But what I do know is that I can make dua and He listens. So that's in my control. So let me do what I can do. And the complicated stuff, I don't really worry too much about.
Sorry, because I get a little bit confused. He's talking about the creed or al-qadr, like when God says that for this year, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So is it this al-qadr or the creed? Because when I read or studied about al-qadr, God asked the pen to write everything. But also there is a part, because God said, "Daruni astajib lakum." So He writes with the qalam, when we will pray to Him, there will be a change. So there is a writing with the qalam for everything that, and He is in His previous knowledge, knows that we are going to pray to Him, and He will change what is written. And I'm not sure this is the creed or this is the al-qadr. ما قدر الله سبحانه وتعالى for us. Because the creed is shahada, isn't it? Shahada and the five.
It's part of our creed involves, part of our belief is that we believe in al-qadr. When Sayyidina Jibreel asked him, أخبرني عن الإيمان, tell me what Iman is. He said, أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله وباليوم الآخر وأن قدر خيره وشره. So he said that this is the basis of our creed, of our aqidah, is that we must believe that Allah has a plan. And that's what qadr means. Qadr means something which has been determined. Qadr al-shay means to determine something. So it has been determined that I will be in this place this year. It wasn't decreed that I was going to be here last year. I wanted it to be that I wanted to be here last year, but Allah planned something else. So what we learn from this, from qadr, is that things are out of our control. They're in His domain, and there's two domains. The domain that is His business, and we just submit to that. And there is one small element of choice in this life, which is us, that we can choose, or we can try to do right or do wrong. And this ikhtiyar, this choice, is with us. So let's worry about what we can do, which is to do right, and not worry about what He's doing. We just submit to what He's doing. And that's the lesson that we should learn in real terms about qadr, is that we need to submit to His will, and we need to do what is in our control, what is in our capacity, which is to be nice. Things like smiling, that's in my control. Apparently, smiling comes quite naturally to me, and it's quite an easy thing to do. And when I hear that people, like Shaykh saying this morning, smiling is a sadaqah, you get rewarded for smiling, I think, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I kind of like that. And it actually helps me a lot in what I do, because I don't realize sometimes. I was just saying that earlier this morning when this person said she saw this video of mine on YouTube. I'm thinking, you heard in the church about a YouTube video that I did? I'm and first of all, I never made a YouTube video in my life, but people might have made videos and put them on YouTube. But what I do know is the little that I can do in my work involves smiling. And the first thing, when somebody's distressed, to smile at them. Now that's something in my control. So when we talk about destination, predestination and destiny and all of these detailed things, really you've got to go to the sheikhs for that stuff. And that's why I asked Shaykh Muhammad Muslim, he says not now. And that's completely right. And I'm glad he did answer that way, because he will deal with it, but not at this point. Because what we're talking about is what is in your control. And what's in your control is you can make dua. So let's do it. And that's what I'm trying to get through this from this night. What you can do, make dua. And inshallah, Allah can give you things even if you don't make dua. But making dua is good manners. It's a good way to address. And then what is in your control of your life is to smile, to be nice, to be polite, to do worship, to do the little things, to do the big things. That's in your control. That's what I understand. Wallah, if you want to correct me, please add anything if I've strayed from the... No. Jazakumullah khair. Okay, so that's our approach to Laylatul Qismah, so the night of Bara. So our role in this is to expose ourselves and to hope and to pray that what he's chosen for us is good. And inshallah, he's kind. And he will answer us, especially if you smile. Inshallah. Okay, so let's go to some of the hadith related to this. So the hadith 22, I think it is. I try and cut the chain short. And Maqhul and Malik ibn Yakhamir and Mu'adh ibn Jabal and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال يطلع الله تبارك وتعالى إلى خلقه في ليلة نصف من شعبان ويغفر لجميع خلقه إلا لمشرك أو مشاح. So he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks to all of his creation. And of course there's a difference between looking and seeing. When you look at something, it's purposeful. And of course we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees everything. But when he says he looks at a thing, it means that pays attention to it. And of course if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pays attention to it, he pays his attention with all of his characteristics of kindness, of forgiveness, of gentleness. So he looks to all of creation. في ليلة النصف من شعبان فيغفر لجميع خلقه, and he will forgive all of creation إلا لمشرك أو مشاح, except someone who associates a partner with him, or mushahin. Mushahin is shahana means to take one thing from one place to another. I think little Idris would call it a garbage truck. Garbage truck. He goes around pointing to all of the different things. Excavator, bulldozer. And when I was thinking of mashahin, it's something which takes rubbish from one place and dumps it somewhere else. What is it referring to this? Allah will forgive everyone except the rubbish truck driver? No. What it means is the person who takes something from one place, deliberately puts it somewhere else to cause confusion. So I heard a story. Do you want me to tell you what I heard? Do you want me to tell you what? Do you want me to? Yeah. What's the goss? So that person that does that deliberately to start trouble is one of the people who cuts himself off from this blessed night. So what we should learn is how we should be behaving, not only on this night, but generally. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so kind. But there are some things which He doesn't, which cut you off from that. So our role in this is to make sure we don't fall into that category. إذا كان another hadith أن مكحول أنا بثعلبة الخشني أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا كان ليلة نصف من الشعب طلع الله إلى خلقه فيغفر للمؤمنين ويملل للكافرين ويدعو أهل الحقد بحقدهم حتى يدعوه. Okay, he says that I've got a translation. Why am I even doing it? Probably just because it's so. On the 15th night of Sha'ban, Allah the Exalted looks over His creation and forgives the believers and allows the disbelievers to continue without punishing them, and leaves the people of spite to their spite so that they leave Him. So what does this mean? Is that on this night, actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all the people He loves. And the people He doesn't love, He just lets them get on with it. Why? Not because He's particularly angry with them, He just doesn't care. Because this is the night of mercy, and His mercy encompasses. But those people that He doesn't want to direct His mercy towards are those that have cut themselves off. So on this night, you should be exposing yourself to His mercy, and there's loads of it coming to you. Only the people that are really deliberately cutting themselves off by doing bad will be in trouble. So it's a big night. عن علي بن أبي طالب رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان ليلة نصف من الشعبان فقوموا ليلتها وصوموا يومها فإن الله تبارك وتعالى يقول ألا أستغفر فأغفر له ألا مستسرق فأرزقه ألا سائل فأعطيه ألا كذا حتى يطلع الفجر. So he said that on this night, when the 15th night of Sha'ban comes, stand in its night in prayer. So here, what the hadith is recommending, what the Prophet ﷺ is recommending, is that you spend the night in prayer. Now, I don't know, somebody was asking me, so what is the plan for tomorrow night? I says, well actually, we write plans, we write timetables, and every day there's a change. So I can't guarantee what's going to happen tomorrow, but what's planned is that there's dhikr, there's dua between Maghrib and Isha, and after Isha we don't have a plan. Or is there a plan?
We have asked Shaykh Afifuddin to lead to conduct the program for the Laylatul Nisf min Sha'ban.
From Maghrib
he
till
will be in charge of the program, which will include Surah Yasin, and it will include after Isha the Salatul Tasbih, and there will be presumably other things as well, but those are the two ingredients that I've been informed of.
Okay.
But Shaykh, we will basically follow Shaykh Afifuddin in the program for the worship of the beginning of this night, and then of course the rest of the night will be up to us until Fajr.
Okay. Right. Now for us kind of people who can't pray all night because we're either not at that level yet, I want to tell a story. Is that all right? We have one of our teachers in Zanzibar, rahmatullah, he passed away maybe actually quite a while ago, 25 odd years ago, nearly 30 years ago. His name is Muni Baraka, Mr. Baraka, Mr. Blessing. And he was loved by everybody because he had the most infectious, among the things he had was the most infectious, he smiled at people and everybody else smiled. And he just had this ability to bring the best out of everybody. And the year that he died, the following year, we had probably our biggest gathering ever because all of these people were affected by him, who weren't particularly deep in their prayers and things. They weren't really into the deen very much. But when they remembered this person, Sayyid Umar Abdullah, they just melted. You know, people would just make tawbah just thinking of this man, because he was such a gentle person. And people would tell stories like, oh, I used to play football with him, and I used to do this. And when he used to take a shortcut to the mosque, he jumped over my fence and and everybody's got a story about this man. And I'm going to tell you one story that really sums up what he was like. Because he was so approachable. I mean, he was a great alim, by the way, but he used to be so approachable that people would just go up to him and just ask him questions that, like, you know, he was such a nice guy that one day he used to go, on the way to the mosque, there was a drinking place, where people would, you know, just, Shabin, it was just illegal drinking house. And on the way to the mosque, every single day he used to pop in there. Assalamu alaikum! Habari zako? How are you all? How's your mother? I haven't seen her for a while. Send her my salam. See you another time. And off he goes. On the way to the mosque, every day he would pop in the mosque. And the other qadis, because he was a qadi as well, a judge in the courts, Islamic court, people would say, you know, you're really doing a disservice to the maqam. You have a status, you know, you're an imam. Every single day you go to this place where they drink alcohol. You know, ayib alaik, you know, it's not good for you, it's not good for us. He said, if they don't come, if I don't go to them, do you think they will come to us? Shut them up, didn't it? So that's the kind of person who was just like very open. And one day somebody just came to him and says, you know, there's a dance party on the other side of the town, on the other side of the island. Would you drive us there? Can you imagine going to the imam of the mosque and saying, will you drive us to a dance party? He says, of course. On condition you come to me first for Isha. You pray Isha with me, I will take you there, you dance, you do whatever you want to. I will go and wait for you. I will climb the hill, the mountain nearby. I will wait there, and then after the party is over, you come back, you pray Fajr with me. Okay, that sounds good. I will take you all in my van. And he did. He took them all there. They prayed Isha. He doesn't know what they did between Isha and Fajr. Fajr, they came and they prayed. And he took them back. And he says, but you're Imam. How can you do this haram things, take them to a haram dance party? He says, do you not know the hadith? The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever prays Isha in Jama'ah, it's as if he made half the night in Ibadah. And whoever prays Fajr in Jama'ah, in congregation, it's as if he prayed the other half. What happens between is not my business. I did my part, which he put the conditions, which was that you pray Isha in Jama'ah, in congregation, and you pray your Fajr in Jama'ah. And so, whatever you've got planned, alhamdulillah, Shaykh Afifuddin will be here, that's enough for me. 5 minutes with him, khalas. That's more than I'm going to get if I stayed back in Scotland on my own. I know that. But of all of those things, holding fast to the salah, the Isha prayer, will probably be the most important thing of all of them. Surah Yasin is great. It's very important. All of the other things that he's going to do, it's all important. But if you can make the special extra effort to make sure that we're here for the salah, and you can't do anything else, that's what you should try and get here for. Because if you can, that will be as if you've done half of the night in worship. And for those people that can't because they've got child commitments, and perhaps I might be one of them, then try and get your neighbour to be with you. In your house or wherever it is, just try and get a couple of people together, so at least you get a feel of praying Isha together. And if we can get together for Fajr, then that's the night done. And what happens between, inshallah, you won't be doing any dancing or anything, so khalas, it'll be even better. So that's what he says, whoever, so فَقُومُوا لَيْلَتَهَا. And that's important as well for the month that's coming in Ramadan. If you're at home, I mean, I don't know what time Isha is here. I mean, Maghrib is here. About 10:20 in Glasgow is the latest day. So it's pretty late. So if you pray Isha, and we can't pray Tarawih, it's not possible to do 20 rak'ahs in full. I mean, like a full juz of Quran. We just can't do it before Fajr comes in, because Fajr comes in 1:30. So it's quite short and quite difficult nights. But the least you can do is to make sure that Isha is together. So if you're just with your wife or your husband, your kids, if you can just put the emphasis on this, you'll see the real blessing of the night. And if you can't get anything else, don't worry too much about it. So put the effort in the things that really, really count, and that's praying together. And if you can't get the Isha together, then get the Maghrib together with the intention in your heart, oh Allah, please, I can't get there for Isha, please keep me there. Count this Maghrib as part of the ibadah. And then ask him big stuff. You know, ask him. You know, Allah, I don't know all of those big du'as that the Shaykh was talking about, and I don't know how to worship you properly, but I'm trying. Please forgive me anyway. Please, and say from your heart, inshallah. فَقُومُوا لَيْلَهَا وَصُومُوا يَوْمَهَا, and fast its day if you can. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى يَقُولُ, and Allah will say on that light, أَلَا مُسْتَغْفِرْ, is there anyone who wants forgiveness? فَأَغْفَرَ لَهُ, who I can forgive. So he's actually coming and asking you, is there anybody out there who wants forgiveness? So what's our part in this? It's me. Please. But you need to be there to get that. Just be there. أَغْفِرْ لَهُ أَلَا مُسْتَزْرِقْ فَأَرْزَقَهُ, is there anyone who wants wants rizq provision? So I can give it to him. أَلَا سَائِلْ فَأُوتِيَهُ, is there anyone who's asking me, begging me for something, so I can give him? أَلَا كَذَا, and he continues asking this, حَتَّى يَطَّلَعَ الْفَجْرِ, until the Fajr comes. So the whole night. So if you do fall asleep, because it's just a long day, and then you wake up for 2 minutes, yeah, because you need a pee, okay? So you get up because you need to go to the bathroom. Count it as a blessing. On the way to the bathroom, on the way back, you can ask, Allah, I'm one of those people. Give me everything you got. You can't lose out. He's so generous. You'll get everything you want. All it was, you just needed a pee. And that's what this night, that's how blessed this night is. So don't worry too much. Oh, can I get there to be with Shaykh Hafifudi? I don't know Surah Yasin. Don't worry about it. Time. I think I'm going to skip a couple and jump to 26. So I think I'll read the English. And it has been reported on the authority of Urwa ibn Zubayr that Aisha radiallahu anha said, on the 15th night of Sha'ban, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gently withdrew from our blanket. What she means by this, it was her turn to spend the night with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So it's like an important, it's her occasion. It's her time to be as close to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as possible. She then said, and by Allah, our blanket was not made of woven silk, nor raw silk, or of cotton or flax or wool. So she just wanted to emphasize what we're talking about. This is my night. Okay, and then they asked, subhanallah, so what was it made of? And then she went into detail. And then she says, and after that, as he left, I was afraid that he was leaving me to go to one of his other wives. So I got up to ensure that he would not leave the house. This is my turn. So she got up and my feet crossed his. So literally she got up and she tripped over him. And he was in prostration. And so I memorized his words. And his words were, سجد لك سوادي وخيالي وآمن لك فؤادي وأبوء لك بالنعم واعترف بالذنوب العظيمة ظلمت نفسي فاغفر لي إنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت أعوذ بعفوك من عقوبتك وأعوذ برحمتك من نقمتك وأعوذ برضاك من سخطك وأعوذ بك منك لا أحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. So what he's saying here is سجد لك السوادي وخيالي is that the inner core of my heart and my spirit have made sajda to you. So it's not the body that's making the sajda. He's talking about my whole being. So this is a description. You don't have to worry about the words. What you need to worry about is what it means. What's the feeling in this? Is that you need to put everything in front of your Lord. All of everything that I bring, it's yours, Allah. And just that feeling is what's important. وآمن لك فؤادي وأبو لك بنعم. And I know all the blessings that you've given me. واعترف بذنوب العظيم. And I also acknowledge the many, many mistakes that I've made. ظلمت نفسي. I've wronged myself. فاغفر لي. So forgive me. إنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. Nobody can forgive any of these mistakes except you. أعوذ بعفوك من عقوبتك. And then here is what it talks about. The reality of the destiny is that your pardon is your pardon. And your punishment is your punishment. Your forgiveness is your forgiveness, and your lack of forgiveness, if that's how it's going to be, is yours. And I accept that. And by your afwika, by your pardon, I ask you to pardon me from anything that you might be angry about. So even here you're recognizing his status of who he is, and you're recognizing your status, which is completely useless. And that's the essence of what's in here. من عقوبة وأعوذ برحمتك من نقمتك. I seek refuge with your mercy from the possibility you could pull this mercy from me. وأعوذ برضاك من سخطك. And I seek refuge with your pleasure from your anger. And from you, with you, from you. And here, if you think about it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us, or Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching us what pure tawheed is. Now we're talking about what real aqidah is, what real belief in oneness is because now you recognize it in the sajda. In the sajda. And you don't need to worry about the words, you need to think about that feeling. And it's not about being clever here, because I'll tell you about one other brother that became Muslim. One day he was also strangely stoned as well. And he was a young man that he used to smoke a lot. He was about 16 or 17 years old. But he was a friend of mine, and he's been a friend of my brother's, and for many years he was hanging around my house. And I remember one day he just came to me and he said, "So, what's all this praying stuff you do? What's all this praying stuff you do?" And I said, you'll never understand how wonderful it is to put your head on the floor until you do it. Because it actually releases you from all of this stuff that makes you think you're good. Your brain is what keeps you. You always think, "Oh, I know this, I know that, I'm clever, I got a degree, I've got this, I'm a teacher, I'm a that, I'm a this, and I'm a that." And all of this makes you think you're better than everybody else until you put your head on the floor. When you put your head on the floor and you just realize you ain't nothing. That Allah created all of that, and now you need to put your head on the floor just to say thank you to Him for making you who you are. And when you do that, you start to feel something. And you can't buy that. He says, yeah. Following week he came, he was not stoned. He hardly smoked for that week. He came and he said, I says, you're looking different, pal. And he says, no, I've been doing that praying stuff. Every single night. It's right, you're right, man. I just put my head on the floor all night. Boom. I just go down and I just pray. And I just listen and I just feel and, oh, I want to be Muslim. He didn't know anything about Islam. He didn't know anything about religion. All he knows is that he feels good when he puts his head on the floor. And I thought, my God, this dawah business is really easy, isn't it? All you need to do is just, and they just do it, and they just become, it's not like you actually teach anybody anything. It's like they've got Islam inside them. Like the guy that was smoking weed, I mean, half the people I know ended, but he just put his head on the floor and he just became Muslim. He didn't know any of that destination stuff, anything about hadith and seerah, nothing. All he did, he just put his head on the floor and he prayed all night. Amazing guy. I remember a couple of months later, a couple of weeks later, he came to me and says, man, you need to teach me the Quran, all of it, tonight, like everything. I says, Yusuf, man, calm down, what's the matter now? No, I can't wait, I need Quran now. Teach me the Quran now. I can't wait, whole Quran. I says, just calm down, Yusuf, what's the matter? I know, I heard him in the mosque. If you learn the Quran, you can take 10 people to Jannah. 10 people, I want my mama. She ain't gonna go no Jannah without me learning the whole Quran, so teach me now. So he heard in the mosque that if you learn the Quran, you can take 10 people to the garden with, and he just had to learn the Quran that night so he could take his mum to the garden with him. It's like, to have that level of iman, subhanAllah, I would love. And even when before he was Muslim, think of what he was doing in his sajda. That's what we should be aspiring for. And that's that's meant in this hadith, is about that feeling. So Monday night's not so much about being clever. In fact, it's not at all about being clever. It's about putting your head on the floor and just turning to him and saying, Allah, please, I don't know what you got for me, but please give it to me. Or whatever it is you want, and you'll find it. And the essence of the dua is to just recognize you're nothing. لا أحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. And inshallah, perhaps tomorrow we'll read a little bit more of that. Inshallah, but I believe Maghrib is about to is in. So if there are any very brief questions, inshallah, please. So if we were to follow this, then you would fast on Tuesday. Yeah. But there's also a narration of fasting 3 days every month anyway. So if you were to fast the 3 days, then that would include the day before. But what's more important than the fasting is actually that feeling in the night of just submitting to His will. And that's what I think we should be focusing on. Others have said actually it's better not to fast so close to Ramadan, but that's another matter. If you want to fast, fast. If you don't want to fast, don't worry about it. Focus on the night, inshallah. But the hadith refers to the day after, which is, with this week would be Tuesday. Is that correct? Yeah. Because I'm not so good with days. Okay. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.